Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And very warm welcome once again to all of you. Thank you very much, Dr. Fareed, for welcoming. I am Munir Ahmed from International Center for Research in Islamic Economics, and I am the session coordinator for technical session A, title of which is Sharia Governance and Corporate Social Responsibility for Islamic Financial Service Industry. A related question may please be asked from the given Q&A section. We will try to address them at the end of the session. On behalf of Minhaj University, Lahore and Conference Secretariat, I welcome the panelists, participants, session chair, keynote speaker, and presenters of the session. This session is of 1 hour and will be chaired by Mr. Farhan Haq Usmani, Executive Vice President and Head of Sharia Audit and Advisory at Meezan Bank Limited. He is also nominated Trustee and General Secretary of Ihsan Trust. Keynote speaker of the session is worthy Professor Dr. Muhammad Kabir Hassan, Professor of Finance, University of New Orleans, USA. Presenters of this session, there will be three papers be presented in this session. And first presenter of the first session is Mr. Shahbaz Ahmed. If I think seems there is some sort of audio issue. All right. Mr. Shahbaz Ahmed and Dr.
Yes, I am available. Yes, I am available, but don't start. Sorry. I am not seeing start video. When I click on tab, then they say you can't start your video because the host had stopped it.
All right. We will allow at your turn.
Okay.
First paper will be presented Mr. Shahbaz Ahmed and Dr. Nawaz Lodhi. Mr. Muhammad Azim and Muhammad Rizwan and Muhammad Imran Khan for the second paper, and Mr. Muhammad Maulana Hamza, A.A. Miftah, and Ambu Pengui for the third paper. With all due respect, now the session is handed over to our worthy session chair, Brother Farhan Usmani. Over to you, sir, please.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Munir. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmadu wa nasalli ala rasulihil kareem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. A very warm welcome to the keynote speaker, Dr. Kabir Hassan, and all the presenters to be, and our dear participants. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much Minhaj University for arranging this amazing event as usual, though this time virtually, but we hope and wish that inshallah the legacy will continue in future and we'll be holding it physically inshallah in future. So once again, thank you very much everyone. The topic for this technical session is, as mentioned by Brother Munir, is Sharia governance and corporate social responsibility for Islamic financial service industry. A very important topic, which unfortunately is usually a point of discussion and debate among the academia and the social activists and the industry. Because usually people think that, when we talk about the business in business terms, they say that, okay, in order to have few photographs or in order to have a section filled in our annual reports just to show that we are a good or get the sympathies of the consumer or the stakeholders, they put in few pictures and say, we are greatly involved in the CSR activities. On the other hand, they say the business, usually it is being perceived that the business is something which is mainly focusing on the outcome of the financial results, that is the P&L and the balance sheet. On the other hand, the other extreme end of the critics, or with due respect to my academic friends from the academia, is they sometimes believe that the core objective of having this business is to serve the nation through the corporate social responsibilities, actions. When we talk about Islamic finance or Islamic financial industry, the topic becomes more valuable. And the reason for that is that it is embedded in the core values or the philosophy of the Islamic finance. So inshallah, I'll be sharing some views after going through and after listening to the worthy keynote speaker and the presenters. So as we are already, running short of time, so without any further ado, if I may request Dr. Kabir Hassan, Professor of Finance at University of New Orleans, a very amazing personality, great contributor to the field of Islamic finance and to the academic world as well. And with the hope that is the case always, he'll, inshallah, it will be worth listening to him, inshallah. So over to Professor Dr. Kabir Hassan.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري أحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Dear brothers and sisters, the esteemed co-panelists and those who are listening all over the world, it's 2:15 in the morning in New Orleans. It is sleeping time for me. Hopefully I'll be able to share something with you. So can I share my screen with you? And Farhan, good to see you again.
Likewise, Prof. Thank you.
How do I move it? Okay. So let me, I have a prepared speech. So actually, I tried to make my keynote speech combining the major theme of this conference. So we know that Islamic finance is at the crossroad in the sense that now we are fighting in a sense that in a positive way, that it has gone out of this childhood, now is in a teenager stage, and Islamic finance is growing in different parts of the world. The country I come from, Bangladesh, the Islamic finance takes about 30% of the industry, and in Pakistan is growing. So, but the basic question that they're asking, like the previous panel discussion, all the authors are saying which direction it should take. So the morality and ethical concern should be embedded with Islamic finance. It is not only for one faith-based citizenship, it is for the entire world citizenship, because it has things that is attractive to every person of any faith, tradition, culture, and so on. So now the question is how to put back the Islamic finance back to on its track. So we are basically talking about this conflict between micro maqasid and macro maqasid when I talk about corporate social responsibility, SDG. So we have to bring this micro maqasid and macro maqasid. Our scholars have always put emphasis, the legal scholars, when in the product development or something. There was a question in the previous session that whether Islamic finance, why there's so many few products there. And part of the reason is not only that awareness, is also the education that goes into this thing. So having said this, if we look at the development of Islamic finance, and there's one report by 2024, the global Islamic finance industry will reach about $3.69 trillion. In 2019, Muslims have spent about $2.2 trillion on halal sectors inspired by ethical consumption, and by 2024 this amount will reach about 2.4 trillion at a 5-year cumulative growth of 3.1%. But there was about 8% decrease in global spending in 2020 due to pandemic. Every country has affected, and it is not different from Islamic finance industry as well. Except for travel sector, all the other sectors should return to the pandemic spending level by the 2021. Now, what are the key factors of the growth behind Islamic economics and finance? Of course, there's a large number of Muslim population, the desire to have ethical consumption, not only in food, halal industry, as well as Islamic finance as well, the political drive in different countries, also to have strategy to have halal products and services. For example, Indonesia has taken this Islamic finance focus at the highest level of the government, and presidency has an Islamic finance network that the president of Indonesia directly sees. So what are the opportunities that has been created for this in the pandemic for the Islamic economics finance? Of course, the social responsibility has come to the core of it, the sharing. The pandemic has made brought humility among us, and also hopefully to lead to humanity among the entire world, not only Muslim, non-Muslims together. And there is also digital transformation that we have seen during this pandemic. So there we have to talk about digitalization of Islamic finance reaching to the poor. We are talking about SDG goal. The financial inclusion can be achieved by doing this. So there are different opportunities and threats that happen because of this pandemic. So we can go all the way from the media to the Islamic finance. So Islamic media, if you look at, it is also very important. I do not know whether you have noticed that during the lockdown time, the Muslim consumer attention for online media grew and demand for certain Muslim media products increased exponentially. For example, Turkish series, the Dirilis Ertugrul caught attention of millions of Muslims. So this industry was affected because of this pandemic. If we talk about this cosmetic industry, this is also big. In 2019, the Muslim consumers' demand for hair cosmetics increased 3.4% to USD $66 billion. And 2020 is going to drop, but it's going to come back forward. So I'm just trying to show the importance when you talk about Islamic finance. Islamic finance can be used in all this industry. We talk about halal cosmetics, but you look at how this is being financed, whether this is being financed by Islamic financial product or non-Islamic financial product. So there is a different growth opportunity everywhere. We have the pharmaceuticals on the other hand. In 2019, expenditure made by Muslim consumers on pharmaceuticals are at $94 billion. It dropped, but it's going to go back again. We look at the modest fashion, halal fashion. So all these things are important sector when you talk about Islamic economy. But if you go beyond these different sectors and look at the financing practices, it's not always Islamic finance. So this is a huge growth opportunity that can be looked at very carefully. We have travel and tourism. We also have Malaysia. There are halal hotel. Then we have, of course, the halal food. In America, an immigrant, when he comes to America, he looks for a mosque and halal chicken. So it's a big industry growing and there's a high demand for it. Not only that, the halal food is also demanded by non-Muslims as well because of the dietary and these hygienic principles. And Islamic finance, of course, is growing. And of course, there will be done. I'm sure there will be few empirical work done after the pandemic, COVID-19 gone, and few are already being done. And we'll be looking at different aspects of the Islamic finance industry. So you can look at the pandemic from the different perspective, stakeholders perspective. You have the environment, we always neglect. So when you look at giving Islamic finance financing, let's say to coal industry or coal powered power generation industry, we very often look at all the traditional moral filter that we have is not haram, and also look at traditional financial filter, but we never really ask whether it is what is doing to the environment. So Islamic finance has always been a prohibition driven industry. So we look at all the no's, 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 but we do not really look at all the yes, 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 how we can bring all the SDG goals, and which are very much Islamic really. I mean, you're not supposed to harm the environment. You're not supposed to, treat the animal badly. These are very much enshrined within the framework of Islamic faith. And this is SDG is not really anything separate that somebody has pushed back on us. We have to really look at on these things on our own. Now, the redefining the scope of Islamic economics and finance in light of the effects of pandemic. The pandemic has taught the mankind numerous lessons. As such, learning from these lessons and shaping the future is within the hands of human. In relation to the effects of the pandemic on Islamic economics and finance, it is imperative to redefine the scope of it to ensure that existing system Islamic economics and finance in the world are resilient enough to withstand the post-pandemic and future such black swan event. Instead of revolving around the notion of Sharia compliance alone, there is need to redefine the scope of Islamic economics and finance using maqasid of Sharia. So there are two lessons I can bring forward. The pandemic has taught the world that commercial economics and finance products are not compatible to provide financial relief to those who are in need for financial assistance to survive in the world. So we really need to bring back Islamic social finance into the picture and combine this Islamic commercial finance, the banking sector, and Islamic social finance together, like zakat, sadaqah, waqf. The pandemic has also taught that the future Islamic economic finance should be provided in a socially and physically distanced manner. So the digitalization will come play a very critical role. So if you look at this picture here, Maqasid of Sharia, the socioeconomic impact of all products and services will be measured in addition to Sharia compliance requirements checked, and this will include environment practice as well. In all industry of Islamic economics, including Islamic finance, social segments will be introduced. For instance, in halal cosmetics, not only the commercial audience will be considered, but the social sector of it will also be launched. If you look at the technology, digitalization, technology will be linked to improvise Islamic economics and finance. For instance, digital payment, digital financing, blockchain technology, artificial learning, machine learning, big data could be used. So the Maqasid of Sharia is combined to social responsibility and digitalization. So how do we realign this thing? Of course, so you start with reset, realign, and restart. Change from date-based to equity-based transactions. So we need to really come more from Morabha type of banking to more like partnership type of banking or partnership type of financing, Mudarab and Musharaka, relink to the real economic activities. Islamic finance keep on achieving United Nations SDGs, promotion of circular economy. Dr. Professor Nashim Siraji talked about these things. We really need to get out this linear way of thinking. We really need to bring and how we can reuse our wastage so that we do not put too much burden on the environment. Think and practice value-based intermediation. So how did the pandemic escalate the process of digitalization in Islamic economics finance? Is this new? The answer is no. The process of digitalization in Islamic economics finance has begun even before the pandemic. How was the situation before the pandemic? There are 127 companies offering Sharia compliant products globally before the pandemic. What types of technology can be used? There are 8 types of technology used for digital transformation: mobile technology, Internet of Things, cloud, digital twin, robotics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, augmented reality, and additive manufacturing. And what are the benefits? There are numerous benefits of digitalization, which include achieving business efficiency and productivity with automation and conservation of resources. And many people say that this digitalization of Islamic finance will bring or align the micro maqasid with macro maqasid that we always talk about, the form versus substance debate. It will come closer to it, and it will also promote financial inclusion, one of the major goal of SDG. So we have to activate, there is need to activate social segment in all sectors of Islamic economics. In all sectors of Islamic economics, Islamic social finance tools such as zakat, sadaqah, waqf will be activated, and there will be a mechanism established to assist the poor and needy or anyone who can afford the expensive products or services. For example, the halal food providers could establish soup kitchen or food sharing mechanism by individual or collectively to the people, and we can learn from other practices that exist in the Western world. In doing this, instead of having a physical place, using Internet of Things, food can be collected and can be distributed to those who are in need of it. So this is an example how technology can be used. So how to facilitate these developments? So we have to enact a strategic plan as well as enabling framework for that by the respective countries. At the policy level, there is need for the respective countries to ensure that digital banking is promoted with economics and financial products. So we need to bring up new products, and it will be easier with this new technology if we conform the digital technology, and services will be provided in socially and physically distanced manner. In this regard, eKYC, know your customer, roles will be imperative to be enacted, while laws in digital signature and cybersecurity laws also are required to be adopted as well. The most important requirement in this regard could be to make internet available at an affordable manner to all citizens in the country. So what are the challenges? Of course, the challenges, we have unreliable postal services, we have the lack of digital payment system, lack of creative marketing, digital talent, lack of web development and mobile coding skills in organization Islamic cooperation countries, finding commercially viable business models, and finding a solution on over relying on the US dollar. So we talk about dinar system or coming up with Islamic dinar. So those macro monetary principles, we also have to look at these things. So how to overcome these challenges? Ways to overcome this challenge need to be deliberated to ensure that there is sustainability in digitalization in Islamic economics, not only domestically, but on an international level as well. So how do you go forward? The pandemic has been described as twin threats to humans, that is to the lives and livelihoods. There is one of the McKinsey report, 2020 says it. Islamic economics and finance can be redefined by merging it with the maqasid of Sharia, digitalization, and social responsibility. There is no doubt that the pandemic created the opportunity to escalate the convergence of digitalization and social responsibility in light of maqasid of Sharia. Now, Islamic economics of finance, which derives its values from Sharia, has a potential which is untapped that could be improvised to ease the countries who are economically, financially suffering from this pandemic right now. So we have to save life first, and we can use the Islamic social finance sector very effectively during this time. Key stakeholders of Islamic economics of finance, such as policymakers, academicians like us, researchers, practitioners, to shape the future Islamic economics and finance that would be aligned more towards achieving maqasid of Sharia, objectives of Islamic law, rather than merely rotating around the notion of Sharia compliance in solution. And finally, there is no doubt that the pandemic has exposed a vulnerable segment of the population, societies, economies all around the world, which is warranted to redefine our Islamic economics and finance embeddedness principle that Mehmet Asude talks about in light of maqasid of Sharia by converging social responsibility and digitalization, emphasizing on the social responsibility and digital literacy at the global context. And thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Professor, for the amazing insight, suggestions, and probable solutions, the most important part of it. That is, I mean, this is amazing. And I wonder if this, based on the suggestions, based on the areas that you have mentioned, could be put in the form of maybe in the form of a policy document through some multilateral organizations platform or through a big institution. It can be sent to all the Muslim world countries and decision makers over there, so that while devising a policy after, maybe post-pandemic economic situation, to cater to the post-pandemic economic situation, they can take advantage of these suggestions that you have made. Jazakallah khairan, Dr. Kabir Hassan. It is always great to hear from you and to learn from you. Now, coming to the part of where our presenters and the researchers present their research papers. The first of them is on the topic of leadership, proactive personality, and organizational outcomes, role of parallel mediations in Pakistan Islamic banking. The paper is written and presented by Shahbaz Ahmed, Department of Economics and Business Management, University of Veterinary and Animal Sciences, UVAS Business School, Lahore, Pakistan, and Dr. Nawaz Lodhi, Institute of Business Management, University of Engineering and Technology, Lahore. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving me a best chance to explore my research contribution. So first of all, start with the name of Allah, who is the most benevolent and the most merciful. So I introduce myself. My name is Shahbaz Ahmed from University of Veterinary and Animal Sciences, Lahore Business School. Can I share my PPT? Hello. Hello, sir. Can I share my PPT?
Yes, you can.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I would like to talk. I would like to take my best opportunity to express my research contribution on leadership, proactive personality, and organizational outcomes. The role of parallel mediations in Pakistani Islamic banking. So it is a privilege and a pleasure for me to be invited to attend this international conference on World Islamic Economics and Finance Conference, Pandemic Crisis, Digitalization and Responsibility, and Emerging Role of Islamic and Finance. So I want to talk on my research contribution that I have explained my topic. So we come to next. So first of all, introduction. Okay. So unfortunately, the researchers failed to admit that leaders and employees are two drivers and work together to influence employee performance. The parallel mediators in Islamic banking finance has completely been neglected and given no consideration in the literature. So basically, the present study used the transformational leadership and proactive personality as an independent variable, and on the other hand, this study used employee performance as a dependent variable. First of all, we introduce my research variables, transformational leadership. So transformational leadership is a method in which leaders encourage, inspire, and motivates and create change that will help you grow and shape the future success of the company. So on the other side, the proactive personality that I have used as an independent variable. So proactive personality means proactive personality is a unique dispositional characteristics defined as a behavioral tendency toward taking personal initiative in creating a favorable environment. Okay. So the present study has also included different mediators like work engagement, organizational commitment, leader member exchange theory. So different parallel mediators have been identified between both transformational leadership, proactive personality, and employee performance. So here is a research gap I have already explained. Third statement, in the lights of intangible and volatile characteristics of the Islamic banking, there may be a strong effect of both transformation leadership and proactive personality on employee performance. Basically, different studies have explained, have generated findings on transformational leadership, on employee performance, and on the other side proactive personality on employee performance. But this study is unique in nature because this study examine the integrated effect of both transformational leadership and proactive personality on employee performance. So even unfortunately, multiple organizational outcomes have always been neglected in Islamic banking. So that's why the present study used multiple organizational outcomes, work engagement, organizational commitment, leader member exchange, and organizational citizenship behavior as mediators between both transformation leadership, proactive personality, and employee performance. So problem statement like a bastard doesn't when Goyed argue there is no leader without followers. So a basic main reason to conduct this study, which argued by Bastard doesn't, there is no leader without followers. This statement is exactly which I am following. We are following in the different contexts, industrial context, organizational context. So we can say that. So apparently, the personality scholars explore that the implies followers monitor, evaluate, improve their performance under the consideration of predictor leadership. So Felder et al., whereas leadership scholars began to explain the effect of leadership on EP imply performance by the moderating role of employee personality. So this one, this was the main study, Bill et al., who explored the moderating role of leadership between employee personality and employee performance. So, but the present study examined the integrated effect of both transformational leadership and proactive personality on employee performance, and in the presence of multiple organizational outcomes, mediators, etc. So need of this study, which like a problem statement, we can examine as a need of this study. So we will come to research objectives. Basically, there are four main research objectives of the present study. First research objective is to quantify the influence of transformational leadership or organizational outcome. Second is to quantify the influence of proactive personality on organizational outcomes, to examine the mediator's effect on employee performance, to analyze the mediating role of organizational outcomes, both transformational leadership and proactive personality. So literature review, there are multiple studies that found relationship between the variables. So like Munje Moore study found that there was a positive significant relationship between transformation leadership and work engagement. Second is also Majid Ramaya et al. Study found that there was also a significant relationship between transformation leadership and organization citizenship behavior. So third one is also there was positive and significant relationship between transformation leadership and leader member exchange. So multiple studies, the all variables we have adapted from the literature, cited literature reviews have found the significant relationship between variables. But the uniqueness of the present study is that it examined the integrated effect of both transformation leadership and proactive personality on employee performance in the presence of multiple mediators. So these are also literature review, research evidences from the different literature studies like proactive personality. These are effect of transformation leadership on organizational outcomes. And next one is the impact of personality, a proactive personality on organizational outcome. And here is a research model. So we can say that we can see easily there are two independent variables. First one is a transformational leadership, and second is a proactive personality. And one is a dependent variable named as employee performance. So there are multiple parallel mediators. We can say organizational outcomes like work engagement, job satisfaction, organizational citizenship behavior, organizational commitment, and leader member exchange. So we all introduced five mediators between transformation leadership, proactive personality, and employee performance. So we come to research methodology. This study uses quantitative research method by following deductive approach. So we all know well what is quantitative study. Quantitative study, the researchers depends on collecting quantitative data instead of explaining unstructured questionnaire. So the present study uses structured questionnaire by asking, by administering survey questionnaires. So this study used convenient sampling because this study at once and in one time. So basically this study is a cross-sectional study. So the data. So survey questionnaires were distributed among the Islamic banking customers of HBL, UBL, MCB, Meezan, and Bank Al Habib at Lahore based. Lahore, basically, I covered the study. I conducted study in Lahore region. So these banks were selected randomly. So we come to next, the population sample size. This study administered 500 survey questionnaires among the banking officials of Islamic banking. However, 403 survey questionnaires are valid and reliable because 500 questionnaires were distributed, but out of 500 questionnaires, 403 survey questionnaires were proved valid and reliable. But according to Lee and Comrie, 1997, we said that 400 and above sample size is good sample size. So that's why the sample size of the present study was good and considerable. Okay, next one is respondents were Islamic banking employees. Likert scale, 5-point Likert scale. Similarly, other studies we have used. Okay, measurement scales. So this study adopted different measurement scales from the previous done research. So all scales have already been developed and well organized by the literature studies. So we come to next the findings of the study. Basically, this study applied PLSM structure acquisition modeling, the latest version 3.3.3. Okay, so the findings of the study covers 3 aspects. So first of all, the assessment of measurement model. Second is assessment of path model, and third one is assessment of model fitness. Okay. First of all, we come to assessment of measurement model. Assessment of measurement model includes 2 parameters. First one is validity and second one is reliability. So we say that reliability and validity. So validity also includes 2 parameters, convergent validity and discriminant validity. So we can see easily the validity and reliability tables of the measurement scale. So authors like Ringel et al., Hare et al. Explained that suggests that the factor loading of each measurement item should be greater than 0.7 and according to convergent validity, 2 parameters are included in convergent validity. First one is standard loading and second one is AVE. AVE mean average variance extracted. So Ringel et al. And Hare et al. Suggest that the factor loading of each item should be greater than 0.7 and AV average variance extracted should be greater than 0.5. So we can see 2 items of transformational leadership loadings are lower than 0.7. So we are deleted 2 items from the model and run again. Okay,
Shahbaz,
so we can see
sorry, I have to interrupt. Shahbaz, I have to interrupt. Actually,
yes.
You have already consumed your time and you are 2 minutes up actually. So I would appreciate if you can just complete it within 1 minute time, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Okay, we come to next the discriminant validity, which is a part of validity. We come to next assessment of path model. Basically, path coefficient. There is also a direct relation of direct effect of transformation leadership on job satisfaction, organizational commitment, employee performance, organizational citizenship behavior, work engagement, and leader member exchange. So all the effect of transformational leadership on organizational outcomes were supported and accepted, except the effect of transformational leadership on work engagement was not found and was rejected on the following ground. Okay, a second table shows that all effect of proactive personality on organizational outcomes, which has also shows that the proactive personality on working engagement effect was not found and was not significant according to statistical grounds. So we come to next. Okay, direct effect of mediating variables. Mediating variables mean organizational commitments. So all organizational outcomes, including organizational behavior, work engagement, leader member exchange, job satisfaction, and organizational commitment, have good impact, except work engagement. Like transformational leadership and proactive personality have no effect on working engagement. In turn, work engagement has also no impact on employee performance. So we come to next, the finding of the study. There is a mediating role because the present study introduced 5 mediators. So we can see easily table first, there is a mediating role between transformation leadership and employee performance. And second table shows that there is a mediating role between proactive personality and employee performance. So we can see easily just one hypothesis, H3A, and the second table, the hypothesis H1, H13 were not supported because like transformation leadership and proactive personality have no effect on work engagement. So there were also no mediation between transformation leadership, proactive personality, and employee performance in the presence of work engagement. Okay, next we come next. So model fitness, because there are too much tables, so I couldn't include in PPT because due to shortage of time. So there was good model fit indices according to OR scale, Q scale, and F scale. Okay, discussion and conclusion. Proactive employees feel more job satisfaction by making things personally and taking control of an environment rather than depending upon supervisory support. So basically, this study is an integration of proactive personality and transformation leadership. So by interpreting transformation leadership and proactive personality was that there is a mutual behavior of employees and leadership, in which they personally involve in doing something better to improve the employee performance of the organization, of the banking sector. Transformation leadership has the strong positive impact on organizational rather than proactive personality, because supervisor motivation, inspiration, and intellectual stimulation play an important role in raising emotional attachment of employees more than employees create themselves. Okay, proactive personality predicts performance outcome more than transformation leadership, because the matter of this relationship depends more upon the conditions of employee behavior at workplace. So fourth one is the reason for this relationship is that employees themselves behave proactively and create a strong environment where they demonstrate positive role and act positively to support organizational goals. And fifth one is most interesting figure of this relationship is that the employees give more priority and preference to organizational commitment than engaging at workplace. So last one is a leader member exchange is leader member based relationship and social exchange, so that it can be interaction of social exchange and information between leaders, supervisors, and their followers in by Crystal in banking sector. So there is also, like every study has some limitations and future directions. So this study is cross-sectional in nature. So we need to conduct a longitudinal study to cover all the aspects of banking sector. So this study is also at a national level. So we will have to conduct study international level to explore the employees and customer behavior in Islamic banking. Okay, there are some references.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shahbaz. And without any further ado, let me introduce you to the second paper presenters. Our second paper would be the impact of perceived fairness of performance appraisal on organizational commitment and organizational citizenship behavior by Muhammad Azim, Muhammad Rizwan, Dr. Muhammad Imran Khan from Comsets University. जी, Muhammad Azim and Muhammad Rizwan and Dr. Muhammad Imran.
Doctor, can you request the next presenter to present?
Okay, the next presenter or the next paper is an Islamic green contracts, proposing an Islamic financial model to support agriculture sector during pandemic COVID-19. And the presenters and the researchers include Muhammad Maulana Hamza, A.A. Miftah, Mbok Pengwig, Islamic State University, Sultan Taha, Saifuddin Jambi, Indonesia. Please, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you for your time. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, we can, very clearly.
Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad I'm from Indonesia, from Jambi region in Sumatra. I'm with my friend, Anita, and I'm welcome you. I share my screen. Okay. I'm really happy to meet you all here as the presenter. I like to share about what happened in our country, especially about Islamic economic. Yeah. Okay, this is our title, Islamic Green Contract, proposing Islamic financial model to support agricultural sector during pandemic COVID-19. Okay, let's begin our presentation. Our research is, the background of our research is, there is some data that's really astonishing me. There is the survey from the Bank Indonesia. There's all the business activity or sector in Indonesia especially is declined during pandemic COVID-19, except for agricultural sector. Before I see this, the opportunity of agriculture to develop Indonesia. From the ASEAN, we see that the new normal tend to make a basic needs as security. It's happen in BPS. We can see from data from BPS. BPS is statistical center in Indonesia. There's the dominant expenditure are foodstuffs from the agriculture, of course. Then followed by health, 20%, and data package for the study and etc. It is 14%. So from the Lubis, from the experience of Indonesia in monetary crisis in 1997 and 1998 monetary crisis, agriculture sector has become the savior of economic sector in Indonesia. So I would like to mention the hadith from the Rasulullah SAW, Ahmed. It is predicted there will come a time at which what time a person's poverty is a good which is headed through the hills and valley where the rain falls because he ran to save his religion to avoid slander, religious crisis. I think this hadith is also mentioned us or tell us that agriculture is become the future of Islamic economic especially, because the hills and because is literally near to the socialist tension during COVID-19. Okay, for the second part, I would like to, based on the data, still there is the lack of Islamic finance products that supporting agriculture in Indonesia. That's our focus. Although it's a positive trend during pandemic COVID-19, but the Islamic finance product that supporting this sector is still limited. So in this research, in this presentation, I would like to show you, I would like to present, I would like to propose the Islamic financial model in supporting agricultural sector in Indonesia. Okay, for the third slide, I would like to present my friend Anita, who would like to share his speech. Okay, thank you. Mr. Anita, please say.
Okay, thank you for your time, Mr. Malana. Okay.
Can you hear my voice?
Okay, thank you. Based on data by Farhan, 2011, Murabaha per buying and selling Mudarabah performers who have advertised but minus capital. Ijara for the purchase of agricultural machinery and tools. Granting for the establishment of rice barns and rice dyeing fields. And then based on data by Maulida S. Yunan A 2017, suggest by Salam for small farmers through BNT. And then based on data by Obansa and Madukwi 2015, mention expansion of agricultural capital and productivity should be financed by domestic savings, development, share, and foreign investment. And then by Nugroho 2016 offers to mothers of agricultural financing in Indonesia, Muzarah with government assistance and without assistance. And then Hayati SR 2018 mentions that Islamic banking may support the agricultural sector. And then Hassan et al. 2012, farmers have limited knowledge about Islamic banking and agricultural financing. There is no previous result that focus on modeling contract based on its agricultural supply chain management. And then result method. This result is a qualitative result using library, result and benchmark analysis to reveal the appropriate model of Islamic financial contracts to support agriculture sector in Indonesia.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Anita, for your presentation. I would like to continue the presentation from the Anita, and the third part is the discussion. The problem sound contract. The most suitable, I would like to present you the most suitable based on the SMUI, Majelis Ulama Indonesia, or the scholar, Islamic scholar Indonesia, is Salam. Salam contract is really the suitable contract for the agriculture. But because of the lack of knowledge and understanding of the community, it is still have not implemented from the Islamic banking. So, from the Islamic banking is also afraid of the fraud or failure from the farmers' crop and the risk of the changing price, because the price of agriculture is really dynamic, I say. So the quality of agricultural product. I would like to say, besides of the Islamic banking, there's also the role of fintech. There are three financing models for agriculture provided by fintechs in Indonesia. First is agriculture seed capital with production sharing agreement that's using mudharabah, marketing farm product dari Tuskasa, Wakil Ujroh, shelf various agriculture facilities and installation by Listisna. But apparently from 8 legal Islamic fintechs, only one Islamic fintech is specifically mentioned that provides agricultural financing service. Then these three financing model is not implemented by the Islamic fintech, but by the conventional fintech. But they are not mentioned. It is mudharabah, it is wakabil ujroh, it is istisna. They just say this is bagi hasil. In Indonesia, we say it's bagi hasil. There is many terms in Indonesia. Okay, agriculture based on the research of back in 2006, there is 5 points of methods of agriculture. First is limited research in adopting technology. Then what you say is there's the effort to reduce the risk of farming through the diversification approach. Thus, increase productivity, strengthening farm income, and preserving the environment in sustainable manner. This is 5 methods is almost discussed in many research of agriculture, especially in the financial sector, financing the agricultural sector. Now, 4 of the 5 problems above can be solved with financial support from Islamic financial institution. So a supply chain study, I would like to show you about the supply chain, agriculture in Indonesia. It's need to see the right contract for each stage of agriculture. Well, the 4.5, the government might intervene the form of like law. Say this is just a fiscal policy from the government that we propose here. So this is the main issue, the main of our discussion. There's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a 7, the 7 chain of the agriculture. Generally, it is generally. First is land management. Most of the land in Indonesia is still owned by really a several person. Therefore, this is need for the role of the government to intervene this issue. Now, by what? By Ihya Mawad. I propose here is Ihya Mawad model. It is really suitable with the role of the regulation in Indonesia. Ihya Mawad, while it say that Ihya Mawad is it has implemented in Khalifah Umar bin Khattab, That ihol ma'awad. The second is muzaro'ah. Muzaro'ah is really known as for the field, rice field, yeah, for the rice field especially. Mudarobah for the between landowner and the farmer. Mudarobah. It's implemented in many regions in Indonesia. It has been implemented, but the contract is not using Islamic financial sector. It is just between them. Okay. The second chain is seed. Seed can be implemented. The Islamic fintech or Islamic banking or Islamic financial institution might propose murabahah musyarakah, to support this sector. Many oral agriculture financing applications in Indonesia have been practiced such as agro. Agro is the name of the fintech, yeah, but not Islamic fintech. They're just fintech and cloudy. But this is there is a need from the Shariah bank. There is a need of commitment from the Shariah bank to for direct assessment for the farmers. It is really need a new regulation from the government. In the context of Munabaha, the bank is the seller and the farmer is the buyer. In the context of Munabaha Musyarakah, banks can become crowdfunding agent. So the crowdfunding agent, the contract for the crowdfunding agent is Munabaha Musyarakah for the customer who are interested in investing in agriculture sector with certain result. Because the Mudorib, we say in Mudorib is many, but the Sohibul Mal is only one. So the contract is Mudarabah Musyarakah. So for the
Brother Hamza,
yes?
Hamza, I'm sorry, I have to interfere. Actually, we're already running out of time, and you have consumed your time. In fact, you have overrun your time. If I may request to yes, please, if you can conclude in 1 minute. Thank you, please.
Okay. The third is Mudarabah, as you see on the slide. The second is maintenance farms. It can be used by Islam, but from the BMT. BMT is the small bank, Islamic bank in Indonesia. Our Bank Infak, there's Bank Infak in Indonesia. I would like to introduce Bank Infak in Indonesia. Because for the plant manufacturer is this AMDT, Dinas Masyarakat Bal Istisna. This it has been implemented by the Habibi Garden, etc. Generally, I would like to say all this contract has been implemented by the fintech Indonesia, but not by Islamic fintech. I would like to propose this contract to the Islamic fintech to make some contract about this. This is the conclusion. Before the conclusion, I would like to say this: there is the four kind of Islamic fintech in Indonesia: BMT or Bank Infak, aiming for the financing 5 million or less. PPRS above 5 until 29 million, Boost General of Islamic Banking above 100 million, and Islamic FinTech is quite different platform. Okay, the conclusion is the development of agriculture in the midst of COVID-19 outbreak because collaborative innovation from all Shariah financial institutions, products like banking, insurance, and fintech, Baitul Tamwil, and Bank Infak. This institution has the role and limitation as well as the needs of farmers are very diverse. So faithfully, Islamic financial institution must be able to capture the needs of the farmer in each of the business process, especially in the growing of agricultural process. Further research is required for the further farming mapping of Islamic financial product that can be synchronized with the needs of farmers from various basic communities, from land clearing to export scheme. Okay, thank you, Mr. Farhan Haq Usmani. It's my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan, brother. Thank you very much. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to the next presenter, that is Muhammad Azim, Muhammad Rizwan, Dr. Muhammad Imran Khan from Comstat University, and they'll be presenting a paper on the impact of perceived fairness of performance appraisal on organizational commitment and organizational citizenship behavior. Please, gentlemen. Muhammad Azim.
Thank you very much,
if I may request you to, the initial allotted time was 10 minutes for each presenter, but unfortunately, because of certain reasons, we are already very late on our schedule. So if I may request you to conclude within 5 minutes so that we can wrap up the session, and the next session may be started after a delay of around 15 minutes, please.
Well, sir, I'll try to finish it within 5 minutes. And are you seeing my slides? Is it representing to all of you?
Yes, please carry on.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, thanks to all of you, especially the Minhaj University, for providing us this great opportunity to share our research work. Without killing any time, I can go on my presentation. My topic is the impact of perceived fairness of performance appraisal on organizational commitment and organizational citizenship behavior. My name is Mohammed Azim, Department of Management Sciences, Comsat University, Islamabad, Vihari Campus, Pakistan. Introduction. Into the dynamic market, the performance appraisal, the performance of a firm is linked with the performance of its worker in such way the success of an organization depends on the capability of its representative, which consider as important firm resources such as human capital. This notion is have a support of resource-based theory of Bunny and Burnett 1984. Many firms utilize performance appraisal as a tool for improving employee organizational efficiency, especially at year-end, to settle increments such as pay, training, and development requirements and promotions. Employee perception about the perceived fairness in performance appraisal associated with their commitment, which is centered to enhance employee positive working behavior and productivity. Statement of problem. The employee productivity is a major challenge in the banking sector of the cities of Pakistan, such as Vihari. It's happened due to the low level of organization commitment and deficiency in working behavior. This can be affected by any discrimination in performance appraisal, either related to gender or job productivity as a part of nepotism by the supervisor toward the employer, decrease organizational commitment and employee productivity. This research intends to facilitate banking executive by investigating the mediating role of organizational commitment in the relationship between perceived fairness in performance appraisal and organizational citizenship behavior in banking sector of Vihari, Pakistan. These are the research questions. I have 4 research questions and 4 objectives, and I have 4 hypotheses. The first is perceived fairness in performance appraisal is positively related to organizational commitment. Hypothesis 2, perceived fairness in performance appraisal is positively related to organizational citizenship behavior. Organizational commitment is positively related to organizational citizenship behavior. And finally, organizational commitment mediates the relationship between perceived fairness in performance appraisal and organization citizenship behavior. This is my model, which I have one independent variable, one dependent variable, and organizational commitment is the mediator variable. Population and sampling setting, research methodology. I utilize NIF resources, National Institution Facilitation Technology, which has 23 commercial banks are operating in Vihari and 105 branches such as Vihari, Melsi, Burewala. Because district Vihari have 3 tehsils, Vihari, Melsi and Burewala. On an average, 10 employees are working in each branch. Therefore, the approximately total 105 of employees are working in 105 branches. Approximately 8 employees are being evaluated by the local manager, branch such as branch manager, operation manager. So for the population of these studies, 840. By utilizing Krigis and Morgan table technique, the sample size of 265 are adequate because according to Roscoe 1975, the sample size between the 30 to 500 is good for quantitative research. This is mentioned in Second 2016, page 264. And we distribute data were collected through the administration questionnaires, and a simple random sampling techniques was used. 250 full accurate field questionnaires are considered for the final analysis. These are the measures in which I collected already validated atoms from different studies. Due to the short time, I'm just going further. And as you know that to check the mediation and moderation model, there is two measurements model. One is measurement model, and the second one is a structure model. So for first of all, we evaluate the measurement model, in which we check the reliability and validity of the construct. And traditionally, there is two techniques to check the reliability. One is the Cron-Batch alpha, and the second one is the composite reliability. As you know that according to Hero et al. In 2014, the value of both Cron-Batch alpha between 0.7 to 9 is good enough. So here you can see that the value of all constructs are more than 0.7%. Composite reliability also required up to the 0.7%, 0.70. Sorry, it's also good enough. And the next step in measurement of in evaluation of measurement model is the convergent validity. Convergent validity is the extent to which a measure correlated positively with alternative measures of the same construct, and the constructs explain more than half of the variance of its indicator. Here you can see that the value of AVE is more than 0.5. Here is the and the second step to check the is the factor loading. Here you can see that the factor loading is also up to the required values, which is required by the 0.7%. So this means that our data is reliable and validate. And the next step is bootstrapping, because I already because I utilize Smart PLS 3.26 software. To check the significance of hypothesis in which we run the bootstrapping, and this is one of the structure modeling. And for this, I utilize Bannon and Kenny classical approaches. For first, that I check the direct relationship between independent variable, that is perceived fairness or performance appraisal, and organization citizenship behavior. Then its effect on organization commitment, and organization commitment is on OCB. Then the indirect effect of the these relationship, and you can see that all the hypotheses T value and the path coefficient is positive, and it's positively correlated with each other. Here the direct effect of performance appraisal on OCB, it is significant, and this is the complete values of the models. So I go further to conclude my study. This study examined the mediating role of organization commitment in the relationship between perceived fairness in performance appraisal and organizational citizenship behavior. Based on banking industry of District Vihari of Southern Punjab, data from 250 bank officers validate our research model, and all the hypotheses of this study are accepted. Results demonstrate that the organization commitment mediates the relationship between the perceived fairness of performance appraisal and organization citizenship behavior. More specifically, employee perceived fairness of performance appraisal positively predict organization commitment and organization citizenship behavior. And organization citizenship, organization commitment is positively predict organization citizenship behavior. So this is the end of my presentation, and I already informed you that all the hypotheses are positively correlated with the construct. And the next, due to the shortage of time, because already panelists informed me that you have a very limited time, so I will discuss further my the limitation and future research, and might be there is in future I have a plan to conduct with a multi-way model to check the perceived fairness of performance appraiser. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Azim, though you do consume your full time. So thank you very much once again for the wonderful research work. May Allah bless you and may accept your efforts. Now, as we are, over our allocated time, I'll try to wrap things up by, summarizing the outcome of this session. The session was, those who have recently joined, just to let you know, the session was about Sharia governance and corporate social responsibility for Islamic financial servicing industry. This topic, though, as the name suggests, just does not cover one area or two area, rather the whole philosophy of Islamic finance and the modern day subject of ethics is being covered in this area, and the role and responsibilities of Islamic financial institutions, not just their management, their employees, but all these stakeholders, including the consumers and the customers. So we discussed those areas, especially the keynote speech by Professor Dr. Kabir Hassan was in the context of this current pandemic situation and the post-COVID impact on the economy and the role of these SDGs and the CSR activities and the ethical values by the Islamic financial institutions that are part of the inherent vision of any Islamic financial institution. He has suggested various ways for taking these things forward. So besides that, all the three papers presented were amazing, very good. And my humble suggestion, being part of the someone who is from the industry as well as partially from academia, I would recommend and make requests to the researchers, all the researchers and presenters of the paper, that just try to, the best thing is when you have an allocated time, try to conclude things or present things in the allocated time. That is the best thing that you can do. Time management is very important, firstly. Secondly, while writing any paper, while presenting it to the audience at large, just try to include one small section, that is how it can contribute your research work, because you have put in a lot of effort, you have put in a lot of work, time, energy, everything. So now at the end of the day, it will be beneficial for all if you can just mention or add this small section suggesting how it can benefit, how this research work can be used or utilized by others of various segments of society. With this, thank you very much, the audience. Thank you very much, the presenters. Your work was amazing. Alhamdulillah, may Allah accept your efforts. Thank you very much, Dr. Kabir Hassan. And a big thank you to the Minhaj University, and many congratulations on holding this virtual conference in an amazing manner. May Allah bless you all. Thank you very much.